Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we assemble the best and most interesting news we can find from the area, and Jerry Tope brings you the local weather and related news. Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
We appreciate that you're watching DCTV. Today's show is live on Tuesday at noon and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. and again re-aired at Friday at noon, 2:30 and 8. It's October 11th, 2016. Here's the news. Reported in the Cortez Journal, a fully loaded coal truck rolled Monday morning in the 5,000 block of Hay Gulch Road, County Road 120, near the King 2 gold mine southwest of Hesperus. The rollover occurred about 9:10 a.m. east of the mine. The 2006 Freightliner was traveling north when it slowed and moved to the right to make way for two empty trucks coming the opposite direction, Driscoll said. The shoulder of the road gave way underneath the 79,000-pound truck, causing it to topple, said Captain Adrian Driscoll with Colorado State Patrol in Durango. The road reopened about 12:25 a.m. after the crash scene was cleaned up. The truck, which carried about 10 tons of coal in tandem trailers, was being driven by David Padilla, 50, who works for the U.S. Department of Transportation. He was uninjured and no citation has been issued. Residents along that stretch of road and Colorado Highway 140 between Hesperus and the New Mexico line often complain of coal trucks traveling at high speeds and taking up too much space on the narrow roads. Chris Dorenkamp with GCC of America said the company has been making road improvements in accordance with La Plata County government requirements.
According to the Cortez Journal, Fort Lewis College is assuring victims and witnesses to sexual assaults or harassment that they will not be penalized for substance abuse violations when reporting. The FLC Board of Trustees on Friday approved several policy changes, including extending the grievance procedure to include educating student conduct policy and expanding confidential reporting options. Our primary concern is safety, said Glenna Witt Sexton, Vice President for Student Affairs. We want to make it clear to students and witnesses that they can make a complaint without fear of reprisal. The confidential reporting aspect matters on a campus the size of FLC with its 3,566 students, she said. People can figure out who is being talked about, she said. We're training residence hall assistants, counselors, and health center how to confidentially handle reports. Student Senate President Connor Cafferty did a good job telling the senators people may come to you. We encourage you to know how to talk about it and get them where they need to go. How colleges handle sexual assault and harassment has been in the news across the country as institutions struggle with issues of sensitivity, fairness, and making reporting safe for students and faculty. As part of its update, FLC combined sexual harassment and hostile environment sexual harassment into one category and put into writing the interim remedies for victims, including moving the victim or respondent to a different residence hall, ensuring they do not attend the same classes, and providing counseling services, and the requirement that responsible employees must report sexual misconduct. By handling all policy complaints, discriminatory harassment, equal opportunity and affirmative action, and disability anti-discrimination, in addition to the additional student conduct, under the same grievance procedure, violations under more than one policy can be handled at the same time.
Many people celebrated the tradition of Columbus Day yesterday, while some have migrated to a new designation, Indigenous Peoples Day, as reported in the Durango Herald. 10 months after the city of Durango unanimously voted to celebrate the conquered rather than the conqueror, more than 200 people gathered at Fort Lewis College on Monday to take part in the inaugural Indigenous Peoples Day. In January, Fort Lewis College student Ruthie Ed pushed the Durango City Council to replace the second Monday of October, regarded as Columbus Day, to Indigenous Peoples Day, in what proponents say is a more accurate reflection of the history of the U.S. The push to recognize North America's first inhabitants instead of the Italian explorer has become a nationwide movement, with towns and cities throughout the country joining the ranks, including Seattle, Minneapolis, Albuquerque, and Santa Fe. In the past several months, both Boulder and Denver elected officials voted to permanently embrace the new holiday and its message, which began in 1992 in Berkeley, California. At that time, Lonnie Hancock, then mayor of Berkeley, told Time that Columbus Day was Eurocentric and ignored the brutal realities of the colonization of indigenous peoples. However, a bill to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day statewide failed in the Colorado legislature earlier this year, a foreboding sign to those who decry Columbus's legacy and the historically harsh attitude towards Native Americans. Backdropped by a grand display of Native American tribe flags from across the country, speakers carried the message that the new holiday provides a place of healing. Ed said the embracing of Indigenous Peoples Day better represents a town and college that is home to more than 1,100 Native Americans, representing more than 155 tribes. Reciting the resolution adopted by the city of Durango, Ed said, "The institution of Indigenous Peoples Day is a means to better express the historical events surrounding the, quote, discovery of the Americas and the subsequent 500 years of indigenous resistance." Scholars agree it's nearly impossible to estimate the total population of the Americas before European arrival. But through murder, disease, and other factors, the decline has been referred to by many as an attempted and sometimes successful genocide. Those opposed to replacing Columbus Day often cite an erosion of European American heritage and tradition, with some Italian Americans feeling especially slighted. Native Americans, believed to have migrated to the Americas nearly 12,000 years ago, now claim about 56 million acres in designated reservations of the United States, more than 2.3 billion acres of land, according to the Herald Report. The more interesting research is being revealed at an accelerated pace over the last decades as to the question of just who we are all as people, where really did we come from, and why are we here. Perhaps there could be a push towards a new day celebration. Let's call it Love One Another Day, and that might make all of the differences less important, and celebrating what we all have in common, loving one another, most important.
According to the Durango Herald, homeless people are getting a boost from a bike repair shop to get them free, reliable transportation as part of an effort to help them find jobs. Charity organizations are asking people to donate their time and old bicycles. Homeless people like Clay Taylor said the bikes help people get to more places around town and they make them more productive. "Any little thing can be a big thing," Taylor said. "My bike lets me do everything. I can get around pretty quick to multiple places in town, not too much slower than a car. It makes things a lot easier," he said. Murphy Center volunteer Mark Brewer started a homeless day shelter and bike repair program. He now depends on a handful of volunteers, including homeless people who have benefited from the program. Area cycling shops are helping by providing discounts on parts. People are trying to round up dozens of used adult and children's bikes for the Murphy Center, Catholic Charities, Fort Collins Rescue Mission, Harvest Farm, and the Matthews House. Extra children's bikes will be donated to Realities for Children's Bikes for Tykes Drive.
Elections are being held at the national, state, and local levels all across the U.S., and DCTV is scheduling to bring you live election night coverage November 8th, according to station manager Dan Fernandez, who has said the coverage has been an exciting evening, especially when races are close. Given that we have 2 Dolores County Commissioner positions up for election locally, on top of numerous state battles and ballot issues, and then, of course, the presidential race for the White House, you'll want to be sure to check in on Channel 32.1 if you're watching the results roll in, and we will be updating to the Facebook and Twitter page in real time too. So we welcome you to join in on the fun November 8th. Meanwhile, in our area, the Cortez Journal reports that the Ute Mountain Ute tribal members will elect a tribal chairman, 2 council delegates, and a White Mesa, Utah representative on this Friday. Polls will open from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Community Center in Toyac and at the Recreation Center in White Mesa, Utah. The seats up for election are now held by Tribal Chairman Manuel Hart, Council member Priscilla Blackhawk Rents, Councilor Regina Lopez Whiteskunk, and White Mesa Representative Malcolm Lehigh. Candidates for chairman are incumbent Manuel Hart and challenger Harold Cuthair. Candidates for council seats are Angelita Berry, Colleen Cuthair Root, Bradley Height, Prislana Rabbit, Priscilla Blackhawk Rents, and Lindrith Wall and Regina Lopez Whiteskunk. For the White Mesa representative, the candidates are incumbent Malcolm Lehigh and challenger Elaine Cantsey. White Mesa voters will vote only for chairman and the White Mesa representative. For the Colorado portion of the tribe, the 2 candidates with the highest vote counts will earn delegate seats. Absentee balloting for the election will be allowed for non-resident voters and voters who will not be able to show up in person at the polling place on the day of the election to cast their vote. The deadline to request an official notarized absentee ballot form in writing has already passed. Tribal governmental offices will close at noon Friday, Election Day. Regular office hours will resume at 8 a.m. on October 17th.
According to the Dove Creek Press, temperatures are falling and many southwestern Colorado residents are looking to load up on firewood. San Juan National Forest firewood permits are on sale at agency offices and selected retail outlets. A minimum purchase of $20 allows you to gather 2.5 cords of dead and downed firewood from the National Forest for personal use prior to December 31st. Permits are divided into 5 separate tags. Each tag is good for a half cord of firewood. Tags can be used separately or all at one time. The appropriate number of tags must be validated and securely fastened to the load of firewood in a visible manner before the vehicle is driven from the place where the firewood was gathered. One household may purchase permits for up to 10 cords of firewood per year for personal use. Gathering firewood for resale requires a different commercial permit. And now here's our weather report.
Cloudy and cooler conditions are expected into tomorrow, and there are some chances of showers and thunderstorms. The NWS info says that these are slight and not much precipitation is likely, with a few lulls in the cloud cover as well. However, wherever a cell forms, there is likely to be a bit of moisture. Thursday and Saturday through Saturday are expected to be warmer and clearer for the southern half of the state. The most active areas for today and tomorrow should be mostly to our north. Sometime Sunday is when the next system is expected to arrive. A front extending from the upper Mississippi Valley to the Central Plains and westward to the Great Basin will move eastward to the Great Lakes and southward to the Southern Plains by Thursday. It will produce snows over parts of the northern Rockies and the northern plains through tomorrow morning. Rain will also develop over parts of the northern Intermountain region to part of the central Rockies through tomorrow evening. These rains will reach the Central Plains and Middle Mississippi Valley by tomorrow morning, but will end by tomorrow afternoon over the northern plains and the Central Plains and upper Mississippi Valley by tomorrow evening. Gulf moisture will produce showers and thunderstorms over parts of the western Gulf Coast this afternoon through late tomorrow afternoon. Eastern Florida will have the same showers and thunderstorms through Wednesday evening with an inflow from the Atlantic. Highs over the next 5 days will hover close to 70 and lows will run in the middle 30s.
According to the Durango Herald, a small but growing number of elementary schools and individual teachers are doing away with the after-school chore to allow kids more time to play, participate in activities, spend time with families, read, and sleep. There's been pushback against homework from parents in recent years who say their children's time is monopolized by other activities, said Stephen Geis, president of the National Elementary School Principals Association. At North Trail Elementary School in Farmington, Minnesota, where he is principal, students do what he says is engaging homework. Some students and individual teachers are revising their homework policies to ensure that they are effective, he said. At the Orchard School, a kindergarten through 5th grade school in South Burlington, Vermont, the principal there said he's seen more anxiety among students in the last decade. The school opted to do away with homework this school year based in part on the book The Homework Myth. They're just kids. They're pretty young and they just put in a full day's shift at work, and so we just don't believe in adding more to their day. We also feel that we are squashing their other passions and interests in learning, Principal Mark Trefilio said. Alfie Cohn, the outspoken education lecturer and author of The Homework Myth, says homework is a case of all pain and no gain. The disadvantages of homework are clear to everyone: exhaustion, frustration, loss of time to pursue other interests, and often diminution of interest in learning. He said, homework may be the greatest extinguisher of curiosity ever invented. But Harris Cooper, a psychology and neuroscience professor at Duke University who has been studying the effects of homework for 30 years, disagrees. He thinks all school children should be doing homework, but the amount and type should vary depending on age and developmental levels. Cooper led research that reviewed more than 60 studies on homework between 1987 and 2003 and found that homework had a positive effect on student achievement, but the positive correlation was much stronger for students in grades 7 through 12 than for those in elementary school. He prescribes homework assignments that are short, simple, and lead to success for elementary school kids, he said. It teaches kids that they don't just learn in the classroom and helps turn them into lifelong learners while improving their sense of independence and time management and study skills, Cooper said.
Last week's CO2 average set at 400.91 parts per million, and week before last 400.72. 1 year ago was 398.51, and 10 years ago 378.81. The National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and the Cooperative Institute for Research in Environmental Sciences released their latest methane emissions study last week. The relevance and importance of the information to the rest of the world is in direct proportion to how much you value breathing, along with lung and brain function and an almost infinite number of other life-giving or taking processes. It should also influence our politics as far as I'm concerned. Information needs to be accurate and as extensive as is reasonably possible to answer the arguments and efforts of groups with vested or conflicted interests. So, the University of Colorado and others assembled a database about 100 times larger than the previous ones. The study results support other research findings and on another methane-related subject. What's causing the global uptick in atmospheric methane levels observed since 2007? Before we give you some of their numbers, here are some very basic facts. We're in the middle of a big methane bubble here. Methane emissions have distinct isotopic signatures that distinguish whether a sample came from fossil fuel development and natural geologic sources, microbial activity, or biomass burning. Methane is the second largest contributor to global warming. It is not as abundant and does not last as long as CO2, but it is 28 more times as effective in trapping heat in the atmosphere over a 100-year time span. Reducing methane emissions has potential for being a cost-effective strategy to slow global warming. But whether or not you believe there is global warming, don't forget that bit about breathing and life and health. There are about 623 million tons of methane emitted each year from all sources. That's million tons. Fossil fuel activities contribute between 132 and 165 million of those tons, meaning a minimum of 264 billion pounds every year. Isotopic analysis points to natural or human-caused microbial sources as the source of between 364 million to 419 million tons of methane per year, or 58 to 67% of methane released to the atmosphere each year. Total methane emissions from all sources increased by about 28 million tons per year between 2007 and 2013. The good news is that reducing leaks in the industrial section of methane emissions problem has just almost exactly matched the increase in industrial production, such that the increase in production since the previous measures has not increased their share. But it needs constant watching, and there's a lot of money in those activities, and it seems as if some folks would rather see millions squeezed to a painful death than learn a new kind of work or fuels to use. These interests have resisted change and demand more proof. Lori Breweiler, a NOAA research scientist, says that our study shows that leaks from oil and gas activities around the world are responsible for a lot more methane than we thought. The good news is that fixing leaking oil and gas infrastructure is a very effective short-term way to reduce emissions of this important greenhouse gas. Lead author Stefan Schweitzky, a scientist with the Cooperative Institute for Research in Environmental Sciences, that's CERES, at the University of Boulder in University of Colorado in Boulder says, who's working on NOAA's Earth System Research Laboratories, said, "We also believe methane produced by microbial sources, cows, agriculture, landfills, wetlands, and freshwaters are responsible for the increase, but we cannot yet pinpoint which are the primary drivers. If methane is mainly coming from cows or ag, then we could potentially do something about it. If it's coming from decaying vegetation in wetlands or fresh waters, then a warming climate could be the culprit, which means that it could be part of a self-reinforcing feedback loop leading to more climate change. Think vicious circle." Those are big ifs, but we need to figure them out. Yes, the other sources need understanding and reducing as well, but let's not ignore known facts and deal with them as soon as we can. In the past year, 8.7 million adults were diagnosed with chronic bronchitis. That's only one of many breathing issues, and now no breathing issue is unaffected.
According to the Durango Herald, joining the ranks of neighboring towns, the city of Durango will host the first Animas Valley Balloon Rally this weekend. While the town puts on a hot air balloon display for Snowdown in January, there hasn't been any official show in the favorable summer or fall months, as do other towns in the Four Corners region, including Mancos, Pagosa Springs, and Albuquerque. "I don't know why we haven't had one in the fall," said Doug Lenberg, a local pilot with OTR Hot Air Balloon Adventures, who helped organize the event. "I guess no one ever sat down and put it together," he said. Lenberg said that earlier this year, Al Harper, owner of the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, and Ron Smith, president of the Cottonwoods Homeowners Association, asked if he could generate interest in a fall event. Lenberg asked his pilot friends if they'd be interested in flying the weekend after Albuquerque's International Balloon Fiesta, and was able to get 14 pilots from 6 states to sign on. The next step was to go around town and get community involvement, Lenberg said, and he did. 7 hotels offered to host the pilots for 3 days: Holiday Inn and Suites, Marriott Residence Inn, the General Palmer Hotel, Best Western Durango Inn and Suites, Best Western Rio Grande Inn, Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, and Iron Horse Inn. Several businesses, including Hermosa Creek Grill, the Railroad, Colorado Eagle Distribution, sponsored events throughout the weekend. And County Gas in Cortez offered to fill up the propane tanks for balloons. "We were really fortunate to have community involvement so far," Lenberg said. On Friday morning, there will be a flight for local and regional media groups around 8:15 a.m. Later that evening, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., there will be a downtown Durango balloon glow, during which Main Street will be closed from the General Palmer to the Gaslight Theater to 2nd Street as balloons light up their canopies from the ground. On Saturday, balloons will lift off around 8:30 a.m. The public can help pilots set up and inflate balloons. No experience is necessary. Pilots will also participate in a baggy toss, where they try to hit a target from the sky. Pilots on Sunday will hit the skies again around 8 a.m.
The Durango Herald reports that Durango resident Kathy Morris has won recognition for her work on behalf of the Durango Fire Protection District. She was named Board Member of the Year by the Special District Association of Colorado. The award is presented annually to Special District Board members who have demonstrated commitment and service to their districts, according to a news release from the association. This year's award resulted in a 4-way tie. Morris started working with the fire department while overseeing regional school safety. She embarked on a mission to establish a standard response protocol across multiple disciplines, including fire and emergency medical services. In May 2012, Morris was elected to the board of directors for the Animas Fire Protection District. She quickly found herself in a heated and politically charged situation to ask voters to consolidate 3 districts with a single taxing structure. Morris devoted her time to speaking before the Durango City Council and various groups in support for a unified fire district. After a successful election in 2013, the Durango Fire Protection District was formed, and Morris was elected to the new board of directors in 2014. Even through the most challenging times, Morris's commitment to the overall good of the local community never faltered, the release says. In 2014, Morris also was chosen to serve on the association's board of directors. In this role, she supports the success of every member. Ann Terry, executive director of the association, said, "Kathy is a very deserving winner of this award, and we are pleased for the opportunity to honor her and the extraordinary contributions she has made to her district."
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of October 3rd through the 9th. A local resident found a wallet lying in the highway and brought it to the sheriff's office. The owner was notified and picked up the wallet. Received a report of a violation of a protection order. Deputies are investigating. Deputies assisted Colorado State Patrol on a non-injury vehicle accident. An officer responded to a report of a domestic disturbance at a local residence. Upon arrival, the deputy found the report was unfounded. Received a report of suspicious suspects at a local business. An officer responded and contacted subjects. Received a report of speeding on county roads. An officer investigated a report of gunshots being fired. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned next week for more updates.
For today's High Country happenings, the Garden Club of Durango will meet at 1 p.m. Wednesday, October 12th at La Plata County Fairgrounds Extension Building, 2700 Main Avenue. Darren Parmenter, Colorado State University Extension agent, will be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of food production in the 21st century. For more information, contact Debbie Williams at 247-2046. Thursday, October 13th is the Southwest Open Schools Fall Festival and Chili Cook-Off, with live music, free food, and family-friendly activities such as apple bobbing, pie throwing, pumpkin painting, and a student art auction. The fun starts at 4:30 p.m. at 401 North Dolores Road in Cortez. It's free and open to the public. For details, call 565-1150. And all of the following are scheduled for this Saturday, October 15th. A pumpkin decorating contest at the Cortez Elks Harvest Fest from 1 to 2 p.m. at the Lodge at 2100 North Dolores Road. Divisions include carved and decorated, meaning painted or other means. There will be 3 age groups. Awards at 4 p.m. And for more details, call Lynn at 970-565-7423. Montezuma School to Farm Project's 4th annual Homespun Supper is at 6 p.m. at the Farm Bistro. That's at 34 West Main Street. Enjoy an evening of elegant cuisine and heartwarming celebration, highlighting local foods, drinks, and inspirational feats. Tickets are $60. RSVP to mstfpamericorps@gmail.com or call 856-340-1655. Limited seats are available. The Made in Montezuma Fall Festival will be from 4 to 7 p.m. at Trail Canyon Ranch in McElmo Canyon, sponsored by Southwest Memorial Hospital Foundation. Includes the Epiclectics Folk Band, guided tours of the nursery, hikes to Trail Canyon Waterfall, locally sourced food, an auction, and local wine, beer, and cider. It ends with a bonfire. Tickets are $40 per person or $75 per couple at the gate. For details, go to swhealth.org/foundation or call 970-739-3158. Montezuma County Historical Society is collecting recipes for a cookbook honoring the pioneer ancestors of Montezuma County and needs old and new recipes for publication around Thanksgiving. Include a brief history of the recipe owner if possible. The deadline's October 15th. Send recipes to MCHS Box 218 in Cortez. All proceeds go into the museum fund. And Harvest Fest is 1 to 5 p.m. at the Elks Lodge at 2100 North Dolores Road. A piñata for some age groups, games, food such as spiderweb clouds, cattails, and Freaky Fritos, and other events throughout the afternoon will happen. So it's all open to the public. And all of these happenings are posted up on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays of the live show and the exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. If you have an event or any information you'd like us to post here at the television news show, you can email us, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call at 677-4119, and we'll be sure to get it on air.
Thanks for tuning in. A reminder that this program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday, then rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m., and again aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 2:30, and 8 p.m. each day, respectively.
And again, check us out on Facebook. We'd love for you to like us there and spread the word.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.